tuning in to the Eggman Empire. Authorization approved. Access granted.
What's happening, ladies and creeps? My name is KotyTang. Welcome back to the deep dive of the IDW comics. If you haven't been keeping up, be sure to check out the previous issues we've covered so far. Or no, issue 17. Opening with the Chaotix inside their detective agency in Seaside City. Makes sense. Vector answers a call from Tails, and he's informed about the metal virus and the status of Sonic's infection. During the Chaotix's discussion, they're interrupted by one of the Zombots busting open the door. Immediately springing into action, Espio throws a kunai directed at the head of the Zombot. However, it bounces off of them. Charmy almost risks it all before Vector catches him mid-flight, and the Chaotix retreat out of the building. They plan to hide in the city, but they quickly come to find that Eggman has arrived overhead and is dumping the metal virus all over the downtown area. Vector leads the Chaotix down, fighting the Zombots and saving citizens on the way, and decides to contact Amy for help. We get this shot of Amy just casually expressing her disdain toward working in the Restoration before one of the Restoration members heads in with Vector on the line, requesting for Sonic to come and help. There's an implication here that Sonic just doesn't even bother to carry a phone or a earpiece of his own, and the Restoration just has to find him whenever they need him. Pretty useless of Sonic to do, especially seeing as how he always likes to be one of the first responders to a scene. Amy agrees to send out a call to the Restoration to send Sonic to Seaside City, because sending their own members just wouldn't be good enough, I guess. But we already know how garbage these guys are at defending anything. Vector confirms to Espio and Charmy that Sonic will be on his way, eventually. But until then, they'll have to fight the Zombots by themselves. Vector notices that the plants can get infected as well. The tree isn't processed, so the wood is fair game to the virus, of course. Vector orders the Chaotix to split up and lead the uninfected citizens to the docks. After the crew manages to successfully save several of the civilians, Sonic finally arrives to help out. We learn that while Sonic can freely attack the Zombots thanks to his quick way to remedy the virus, the price, however, is that the more Zombots he attacks, the faster his own virus spreads. Vector makes one last comment about not giving Eggman any more chances, which I agree with. There was never a reason to let Eggman go under any circumstance. While Espio and Charmy are leading the citizens that they've rescued to the dock, it's revealed that one of them was touched by a Zombot. Vector quickly solves this issue by grabbing 4 cars and trapping her inside of them. I mean, if she really wanted to, she could just crawl out, but damn, rip. And Vector continues ordering the citizens to the docks, but Charmy gets upset that Vector would trap that woman, because he's stupid and doesn't understand that once you're infected, you're done! While Sonic is dealing with his own selection of citizens, he notices a rescue shuttle fly overhead. So now Sonic's virus spreads incredibly fast while he's stationary, prompting him to run off the virus so that he can continue rescuing the citizens. Sonic is essentially placed into this dilemma. It's a dilemma that should build this massive amount of animosity toward Eggman. He's essentially in a damned if he does and damned if he doesn't situation. Since Sonic is going to have to run off this virus periodically, he basically has to gauge how long he could even fight somebody before he has to take a break, otherwise he'll succumb to the virus. If Forces is anything to go off of, the very moment that Sonic fails, it's all over for the entire world once again. On the other hand, if Sonic doesn't fight, while he'll be able to maintain the virus and keep himself from being corrupted, he won't be able to help anybody at all. And according to Forces, when Sonic's friends are left to their own devices, they all just keep losing. So in this case, they would all just die. It's a pretty bleak situation for Sonic to have to deal with, and I think that it's a compelling part of his character for this arc. Well, that just kind of gives us 2 questions, doesn't it? Just how much does Sonic's virus speed up whenever he fights Zombots, and just what exactly is the thing that is going to obliterate this virus that is quite literally world-ending, as even Silver has stated? The Chaotix reached the escape shuttle and herd the citizens inside. Charmy only counts 36 people heading to the shuttle, so Charmy's idea is, we've saved all of the healthy people, so now we can go and get the sick people. Charmy's idea is to first start with the person that they left. The entire point to leading the healthy people to the dock was literally because even getting touched by the virus would make you infected, and then they would be unsafe to even be near anybody else. So, why in the hell does Charmy decide to go and save that woman? Is his understanding somehow that he's going to put the infected and healthy on the same shuttle together so long as they haven't changed yet? So, of course, he just goes to do this, completely ignoring Vector telling him to stop. Also, Vector saying that's an order to Charmy as if the Chaotix is some sort of military organization. It implies that they have no sort of friendly or familial relationship. It's just kind of dumb. Vector definitely wouldn't say this. I mean, if I were to pass this line to anybody, it would be Espio, since he actually does talk to everybody articulately. So, within literal seconds of Charmy going to save that woman, he realizes she's already changed, and he gets infected by hordes of zombots around him. Okay, like, of course this is what would happen. I do not feel bad for Charmy here by any capacity. What an actual moron. What even is the Chaotix's relationship with Charmy? It really doesn't even make any sense why he would even be allowed to work with Espio and Vector. I mean, he's way too reckless to even think clearly. What kind of detective is that? Well, no wonder the company was going under in Sonic Heroes. These guys suck thanks to Charmy. When Sonic finally regroups with the Chaotix, Vector and Espio tell him that Charmy went back into the city. Instead of making Vector go and get himself infected, Espio had been preventing him from leaving too. Sonic instead decides to go and save Charmy, while the shuttle takes everybody to HQ, leaving Espio and Vector to grieve for their lost friend as the city shrinks. Issue 18. So we get an update on our heroes here. It's an update provided by Cream the Rabbit herself. This is our first look at the detailed world of Sonic IDW, at least through the eyes of Cream. So apparently, Cream is pretty up to date on just where at least 2 of Eggman's bases are, and was. She's also keeping up to date on who is dead so far, and what cities and towns have been taken over. Oh hey, there's Silver's Garden! Sure is a good thing we read that annual comic, because we wouldn't know why he would have a garden at all. So I guess that Sonic just gave up on Charmy then, because Sonic is now in Floral Forest Village. Dr. Starline asks more stupid questions, literally asking why they're infecting a remote village that would apparently have no strategic value. Well, I can give you an easy answer to that myself. It's a forest village, so basically every inch of this place will be infected, and thus spreading the virus even further out. And of course there's Eggman's explanation that Sonic has friends he'll want to save here, forcing Sonic into this area while the virus keeps spreading elsewhere. Honestly, anywhere Eggman puts this thing is a perfectly strategic spot. Scattering the virus out will make it so that nobody can stop the constant outbreak of zombots. So there you go, Starline. We're infecting this place because it's helping the entire cause. Obviously, a genius like you should literally understand that, but Dr. Starline is canonically stupid, so moving on. Sonic goes around saving the villagers and reflects on not being able to find Charmy. Dang, so Charmy's really gone just like that, huh? Sonic's actual reason for being in this village is revealed to be so that he can save Cream. And you see, Cream here wants to go and fight the zombots, but Vanilla tells her that she's way too young to be playing hero. Cream agrees to stay home, but instead sends out Gemerald to protect the village. And since he's metal, him and Omega will literally be the best chances the Restoration would have at fending off the zombots. Dr. Starline makes another dumb observation. Even with a low population density, this village is succumbing rapidly to the virus. What kind of sentence even is that? You're surprised that the low population is quickly being taken over by the virus? Who wrote this line for Dr. Starline, dude? Obviously, it's succumbing quick to the virus. There's probably like 400 people that live here. Are we just giving Dr. Starline dialogue because he has to be in the panel? Did he forget how quickly Windmill Village got taken over? That was like a 2-minute ordeal. If we compare how rapidly Windmill Village got taken over, This one has actually taken much longer. So what do you mean it's succumbing rapidly to the virus? And this one is literally organic everywhere. That doesn't even make sense. So, Dr. Eggman orders the Zombots to attack Sonic. However, according to Cubot, they don't seem to be taking orders from Eggman. At least, not as they were before. Orbot shows this line graph here that apparently tracks the frequency of Zombots responding to Eggman's commands? Sure, dude, why not? Dr. Starline is surprised to hear this and asks how that's even possible. And Eggman is just like, dude, it's a virus. It's probably mutating. And Dr. Starline is like, what? You didn't account for the mutation in the virus? Eggman just says the virus is working, is it not? Whatever problems come, I'll deal with them later. Whoa, 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 whoa. Eggman didn't count for this? What the hell was that line graph then? What is this even tracking, if not the rate of control that Eggman has on the Zombots? Are we just drawing images to match what's being said? We're not even thinking about the weight that showing something like that has on the story? The graph shouldn't have even been shown if Eggman wasn't tracking the Zombots' control. And you should have just had Orbot flat out say, yeah, I've noticed them listening to you less and less. This line graph literally shatters the scene of Eggman saying he had no idea this was happening. And this isn't like a little error like, oh, I forgot that they had a graph about this. No, this is in the same issue, on the same page, and one panel before this. How do you mess that up? And no, this isn't something that Orbot just came up with out of nowhere. He's been tracking this from the start. How? Dr. Starline is worried that Zombots are going to get out of control. And Eggman just says he'll find a way to control it by then. But now he's annoyed, so he's gonna go stress eat. Dr. Starline confides in Orbot. He states that from the moment Eggman's conquest to take over the world began, he's been fascinated by Eggman and who he thought he was. Essentially, Dr. Starline's entire being is derived from Eggman. Whether it's his interest in robots or his interest in the secrets of the world, they all come from this obsession with Eggman. However, this image that he crafted of Eggman is being destroyed, and he assumed Sonic was just unnaturally powerful. No! He did not think Sonic was unnaturally powerful! He literally thought he killed Sonic from a basic explosion trap! Does IDW just not know how to write villains? Or maybe they're trying to make Dr. Starline a very deep and complex character, and it's actually that they just don't know how to write complexity. Ever since Dr. Starline has shown up in this comic, there's been a growing amount of contradictions to already established things. This scene just ignores everything we've been shown of Dr. Starline up to this point. He's underestimated all of Sonic's friends, but here he says that he actually held them at high regard. He says that he spent his entire life trying to become what he thought Eggman was, through careful calculation, brilliance, robotics, and deep study into the secrets of the world. Yet every single scene we've seen him in so far has only reinforced how incompetent and simple-minded of a character and scientist that he is. Literally, back to the question he asked earlier, why are we focusing on this village? Or before that, why would we dump the virus? We wouldn't have enough to dump it everywhere. We could even go even further back to when he failed to jumpstart Mr. Tinker's brain back into Eggman. How Dr. Starline even has the Chaos Emerald is beyond me at this point. Clearly that was just such a plot convenient moment because it's literally just used to jumpstart the virus. I think it's pretty clear that IDW has no idea how to start this character off because all they've managed to do is write an extremely vapid and naive character that they're attempting to present as thought-provoking and intelligent. So Dr. Starline is now on a path to eventually betray his once believed idol, since Eggman doesn't plan for various outcomes and isn't capable of adapting to a long-term scheme. Is this just rapid-fire shit writing? What's happening right now? We're not painting Eggman like this. You are flat out wrong. Eggman plans for everything, always, all the time. Rarely ever does he ever get surprised to the point that he has no backup plan. Every single time Sonic fights Eggman, what does Eggman do after Sonic wins? He uses another robot. That's right, everybody. Eggman has backup plans for his backup plans. And he's had this since the very first time we ever saw him on screen. How did IDW mess up one of the most consistent parts of Eggman's character? Eggman never just has one idea. Now, he may have one overarching idea, sure, but in return, he has over 8,000 ways to achieve this goal. Always. And that has never changed until this issue, when IDW presented Eggman as a bumbling idiot who can only think as far as he can stretch his arm forward. Do not rewrite a character just to fit your narrative. A change in a character cannot just come out of nowhere, and more importantly, it has to make sense. While defending some villagers from zombots, Sonic comes to the realization for the second time that hitting zombots makes his virus spread faster, so he needs to run and let the virus regress. He goes further in depth, stating that he can't just run in place or do donuts? Come on, man. So Sonic can't run in place to get the virus off. Okay. That is a massive inconsistency, because running in place is exactly how he solved this issue the first time. And he doesn't say that the virus is just that much worse on him now. He specifically says that running in place wouldn't be fast enough. Is anybody at all keeping track with what has happened so far in this comic? Sonic also reminds us that he hasn't found Cream yet, stating that maybe she's inside her house. Probably should have been the first place you checked. It's not like he would have been too slow to check there really fast and then double back within moments if she wasn't there. The reason Sonic is reminding us of everything we know is in order to build tension for when Gemerald arrives. Because if we weren't told how dire Sonic's situation is, we would never know how dire Sonic's situation is. Writing things like that just happens when the writer assumes that the reader's stupid. So, I mean, it's an honest mistake, you know? I'm sure there's somebody that just wouldn't be aware that Sonic was in a life-threatening situation. There's definitely somebody out there like that. Now, I have a lot of problems with the canonization of Gemerald. See, Emerald can't be canon either. And the events of Sonic Advance 3, by extension, literally could not have happened. And I'll probably make a video on this someday, but basically, the majority of the events in Sonic Battle literally could not happen. This is straight down to the geography, such as Knuckles being on some random area that's loosely based off Angel Island, called the Holy Summit, where he even has a house, right to its placement in the timeline being right after Sonic Heroes, while simultaneously and canonically, it can only take place right after Shadow the Hedgehog. Sonic Battle literally cannot actually be canon. And because Sonic Advance 3 is a continuation of Sonic Battle, Sonic Advance 3 cannot be canon either. Finally, since all of that is true, Gemerald cannot be canon. And that will be a major inconsistency with the IDW series if it ever gets greenlighted to be canon.
It is canon.
Wait, what was that?
Is IDW canon? It is canon.
Okay, so the IDW it's canon, which means that Gemerald's canon, which means everything I just said means that the canon's destroyed. You destroyed the canon, congratulations. Gemerald recognizes the virus on Sonic's body and sees him as a high threat to Cream's safety. Not understanding that Sonic can just run the virus off, he attacks him. Sonic tries to reason with Gemerald and tells him that he has a way to hold off the virus, and questions if Gemerald can force the Zombots to listen to him. Obviously, Gemerald can't do this, so he says no. Cream witnesses this interaction, and Gemerald tells Sonic to run off the virus if he can. Although Sonic protests, stating he wants to help the villagers, Gemerald arms his missiles, preparing to kill Sonic. So Sonic runs away, not wanting to fight him. Couldn't Sonic just run back and forth about 100 times just to knock off the virus, honestly? He doesn't really have to go like 17 miles out to get this thing off him. The Zombots close in on Cream's house, and Gemerald fires missiles at them. Cream steps out to stop General from killing the Zombots. Crazily enough, the missiles have no effect on the Zombots, a very stark contrast to when Sonic and Amy were fighting them, and every single hit they landed would gooify Rough and Tumble. Cream is able to successfully reorder General to use non-lethal force upon the Zombots by convincing him that Sonic and the Zombots are victims and not enemies, similar to how he was forced to work for Eggman in his introduction, basically making General entirely useless going forward, just to lessen the amount of characters who can combat this overwhelming force. It seems that IDW's direction is focusing on making it to where nobody but Sonic can fight the Zombots, so they can force unnecessary tension. Interestingly, Blaze is not getting any sort of signal that there's a disturbance in the dimensions, as she received last time. I would assume that once she got back to her time, there would still be a powerful force pulling her back, since obviously Metal Sonic was not what the Soul Emeralds were warning her about. So either they conveniently only warned her once, and then I guess they just assume that she did it, or Blaze is just ignoring the warning coming from the Soul Emeralds. And I, for the life of me, can't think of why either of those two scenarios would make any sense. So now that General is no longer using lethal force, he pushes the Zombots and flies away with some of them to displace the herd. Vanilla starts screaming from inside the house, and Cream rushes to see what's happening, shouting for Sonic and General to help. Meanwhile, Sonic, who has freshly run off the virus, comes into contact with two villagers trying to set the entire forest on fire. They recognize Sonic, and one of them even asks why Cream gets to adventure with him, but she can't. It's a cool design for a character, but too bad we'll never see her again, because Sonic basically calls her stupid for lighting a fire and says that Cream's lack of stupidity is why she gets to adventure with Sonic. Which isn't really true, because Cream is a child, and often does things that are pure nonsense, because she's a child. While Sonic is messing around, Zombots have breached into Cream's house, and her mother is being attacked by Zombots, with Cheese and Chocola defending her. Obviously, these little Chow are no match for the Zombots and are quickly transformed themselves. Vanilla tries to leave with Cream, but a Zombot blocks the door. Thankfully, Sonic arrives in time to help. Sonic convinces Cream to fly her and her mom out of the village, while he takes care of everything else here. Here's just kind of a general question that I wonder if anybody can answer. So can Vanilla, not fly? Cream just has this unnatural ability of flight while Vanilla doesn't? How would Cream have even discovered that she can do this then? If Cream ever gets older, will she also just not be able to fly? It's kind of a major part of her character, is it not? To me, this scene is pretty confusing. I guess we've never really seen Vanilla fly, but I always thought that the reason she was falling in Sonic Advance 2 was because she was too hurt to fly. Apparently, IDW is trying to tell us that she really just wasn't able to. So again, what exactly is making Cream fly if this isn't some natural ability that these two share with each other? I suppose a counter argument could be, well, who taught Tails to fly? To which I would respond that not only is Cream nowhere near as smart as Tails, Tails is also purposefully written to be around the same age as Sonic, but really smart, while Cream is written to where she barely even knows how to tie her own shoes properly. And showing her tying her shoes would be an accomplishment that she'd want to show people. One is an obvious early elementary school child, the other is just the short guy. Cream was flying before she even met Sonic. I highly doubt that Cream just came up with this ability all on her own. General arrives in time to help out Sonic with the Zombots. Sonic finds two jars that he places Cheese and Chocola inside, and I guess they're just that weak that they can't just knock the jars over. The escape shuttle flies off, confirming to Sonic that Cream and Vanilla got out safely, assumedly. While Sonic and General are fighting the Zombots, Sonic is contacted by Rouge. Wait, Sonic is contacted by Rouge? Wasn't it the case earlier that Sonic didn't have any means of communication? Oh, well, sure, it's definitely likely that Sonic decided he should probably keep something on him for contact. Except, he didn't have any time to go back and get anything. After Seaside City, he immediately went to go and help Cream. He didn't stop anywhere else. So, where did he get this earpiece? Rouge tells him that Eggman is flying over to Sunset City, where Shadow and Omega are already heading out. After hanging up the call, we get a look at Sonic's thoughts, and in them he says that Eggman converting another city will be more Zombots that he can't control. So Sonic is just massive brain here, huh? His big brain caught the fact that when Eggman told the Zombots to attack him, they didn't necessarily immediately go after him. While they did eventually end up doing this though. Somehow Sonic put together that Eggman is losing control over them. I guess Sonic is just an overnight genius to hypothesize that the more Zombots there are, the less control Eggman has. Anyway, Cheese and Chocola get out of their shoddy glass prisons, while Sonic heads over to Sunset City. I find it funny that they're able to bust the glass on the little jars, but they can't knock them over, as if them busting the glass wouldn't be enough to make it fall over before the glass would even break. Subscribe, like, comment, follow me on Twitter, okay, bye!